Review for The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, written by William Peter Blatty, based on his novel. Obviously, this is one of the most famous movies ever made. I mean, so much praise has been given to it, and over the years, it won. It won two Oscars, I believe: Best Sound and Best Writing. Screenplay based on material from another medium, i.e., the book. William Peter Blatty won that. Best Sound was given to Robert Knudsen, or Knudsen, but is nominated Best Picture, William Peter Blatty. Best Actress in Leading Role nominee, Ellen Bernstein. Best Actor in a Leading Role, Jason Miller. Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Linda Blair. Wow. Best Director, William Friedkin. Nominee, Best Cinematography, Owen Roizman. Nominee, Best Art Direction, Set Decoration. One Best Sound. Nominee, Best Film Editing. So, I think nominated for 10 Oscars and won 2. But so this is a movie that I've always liked a lot. There is some people that don't love it. I can understand that. It does take a while to get to the exorcism, but it's a movie from 1973, or probably shot in 72, and it takes a while to unfold, but there's just something about this movie. Like some movies, it's hard to even put a finger on it. They're just watchable. Like you're interested in watching the movie. You're interested in it unfolding. And I'd say this is definitely one of them. I mean, it has a great cast: Alan Bernstein, Max von Sydow, Linda Blair. And she's so great as the kid, because I mean, kid actors can really be hit or miss, mostly miss. And she's amazing. I mean, but even like the detective J.Cobb, he plays Lieutenant Kinderman. I mean, he's even amazing in it. It's like even the little scenes with him, and he's kind of looking into the death of this guy who died, who I think was the director of Linda Blair's, or of Ellen Bernstein's movie that she was in, that she's filming in the beginning, and then they have a party and he's getting drunk, and then the party gets interrupted, he leaves, and he dies. He falls down those famous stairs and dies. I mean, this happens pretty early on in the movie, so and then he's investigating it, and I mean, even his little scenes with him having coffee with Ellen Bernstein are just, I don't know. There's just something about them. They're just very watchable. He kind of brings I think he kind of brings like a warmth to the movie. And it's funny because he's a detective investigating someone's death, but he's kind of a little bit of warmth and humor, and he's basically like a huge movie nerd, film nerd. So like he asks for her autograph, and then she's about to give it, and he says it's for his daughter, and then she said, "What's your daughter's name?" And he's like, "Oh, I lied, it's for me." But yeah, he's amazing in it. Jason Miller as Father Karras, and another good review of this movie, put out by Raven Film Productions, a good YouTube channel I've watched for a while. He really goes in depth in it, and there's some great info. I mean, he said that Jason Miller was actually a playwright before this. Like, he wasn't really an actor, and which is just incredible because he is so good. So he was, and then he wrote some plays, and Friedkin saw them, and then he talked to him, and he kind of was like, I think this guy should be the priest, and he agreed to it, and he's amazing in it. Just he's a priest that's struggling with his faith. He doesn't say this, but you get the feeling like he doesn't really believe anymore. And he's also like a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and for priests. So he's the shrink for the priests. So it's interesting. He's like a man of faith, but a man of science too. Um, just a great performance. I mean, a dark performance, definitely. He's struggling because he lives with his mom, and then his mom ends up falling and hurting her leg, and then later she ends up. I mean, they don't show this, but she ends up getting falling again, I think, and dying, and he wasn't there to help her, and he has all this guilt about it. But yeah, and then he has a scene in a bar where he's having a few beers with this other priest, and he's kind of just telling him like, I'm unfit, like I shouldn't be doing this, like I shouldn't be the shrink for the priests. He's like, 'cause I got my own problems, and the guy says, oh well, you're the best we have. And I guess that guy that is talking to him was the real priest for William Fried, or was it William Peter Blatty? I think it was William Peter Blatty. And they were like old friends, and he was his priest when he was a kid, and he kind of consulted for the movie too. All of this is in the Raven Film Productions review, which total shout out to them. Great guy, and him and his friend do a bunch of commentaries on a bunch of movies. Definitely an awesome YouTube channel. And but yeah, and he's like the consultant on the movie, but he's also acting in it. So I think it's just that scene, but just even that scene with that. I mean, that guy's not even an actor; he's just a priest, but he's great. I mean, just great acting, like from not even actors. It's just amazing. Um, so so the movie starts with Max von Sydow. I think he's in Iraq, and they're uncovering these artifacts. Basically, these artifacts will become this thing he finds will become important later, because I believe that's what possesses Linda Blair. And later he kind of finds one, like a statue that she probably created, that was near the body of the guy who fell down those stairs. So and it cuts to him in Iraq, and if I have a criticism of the movie, the first 15 minutes or so in Iraq, like it's like 10 minutes in Iraq, I don't know, it's a little slow. I'm kind of like, all right, let's just get to, I think they're in Georgetown, let's just get there. But you have to have that because later he comes to help, because he's the priest that knows how to do the exorcism. Jason Miller doesn't really know how to. So, but I don't know. I was just watching a commentary by Rambo Raff for Life. You know, a great YouTube channel. I've watched him for years, and I mean, he's not a massive fan of the movie. He says he doesn't hate the movie. He just saw Exorcist Believer, and he said, he's like, this is a good movie, but he's like, that's a bad movie, Exorcist Believer, the new one. But he's just not a massive fan. He thinks it's a little slow, and I think he's more of a fan of the second half of the movie once the exorcism gets going, which I can understand. But so some of his criticisms I understand. I will agree the first 10-15 minutes I mean, maybe just because I've seen it a bunch of times, it's kind of like, all right, let's get to this. Let's get to Georgetown. Let's get to Jason Miller, to Ellen Bernstein, to Linda Blair, you know, and the detective and stuff like that. That's what I really like all those characters. And Max von Sydow is awesome too, but really he's not in the movie that much. So there's the iconic image of him in front of the house. I mean, great cinematography. Um, just beautifully shot, and Raven Films production in his review, he shows side by side images of like, I think it's from the 90s DVD, and then Friedkin and the cinematographer went back and changed it all for a later release. And then I think they went back and changed it even more for another Blu-ray release. So I'm watching the later releases where they change the color. It's more like a cold bluish kind of color, and what he shows is the late 90s one was more of a warm color. So it's one of those things where directors, they just keep changing things over and over again. I mean, I'm watching the Blu-ray and I think it looks amazing, but I don't know, maybe if they never changed the things, I would think differently. I don't know if I ever seen the movie without those changes. So but so there's that, but they don't really annoy me because I still think it looks amazing and the movie still works a lot. But I don't know, I think the original release, there was more color, it was a little more warm. So but so yeah, the movie, Linda Blair gets possessed, and they at first Ellen Bernstein, who's not a believer, who is not a Christian, really. She doesn't believe, I don't think, in much. And she at first goes to all these doctors. She's very rich, she's a very famous actress. She takes her to the best doctors, all like the psychologists, psychiatrists, just all these different doctors. They can't figure out what's going on. They put her, they like image her brain. At first he thinks it's like a lesion on the brain. Comes back normal, nothing wrong. They don't know what's wrong with her. She's getting more and more angry and violent, and even like her skin is deteriorating. She has these cuts on her. And in the beginning of the movie, they show her playing with a Ouija board. You get the feeling that's how this all started. So, and then she's at her wit's end, and then she contacts Jason Miller for an exorcism, and he doesn't want to do it at first. He really doesn't. He tries to debunk it all, but in the end, he brings in Max von Sydow to help him. So, and now just I'll go into spoilers. I mean, I think most people know, even if they haven't seen this movie, how the movie ends up. So he's doing, he's trying to he's like in investigating the mystery. He's recording devices with Linda Blair. And apparently there was another actress that sometimes was wearing prosthetics. I forget her name, but she does an amazing job too. And he's investigating this, and he can't really figure out if it's real or not. She's saying this thing in another language, but then another priest that he runs it by says, "Oh, that's English backwards." And she seems to know some things about his mother, about the guilt he has because she recently died. And then yeah, basically he brings Max von Sydow in, and really that's when the movie really the exorcism begins. And the makeup on Max von Sydow is amazing. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like the guy was pretty young there, and he ended up aging to look like that priest. So that's how good the makeup is. You just assume you don't even assume it's makeup. But yeah, the effects are so good. Just like her levitating, the bed shaking, all the makeup on Linda Blair, just incredible. Um, and yeah, and then I think it's Jack McGowan who ends up falling down those stairs. The detective thinks that he made his way up into her room, and then he fell through the window, falling down the stairs because they're like right near the window. Ellen Bernstein doesn't believe that, but I think in the end, that's what happened. It seems. I mean, they never know for sure, but that's pretty. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Um, and yeah, and then the exorcism is going on. It's very brutal. It's long. It's freezing up in her room. I really like how they do that too. Um, which is common in these movies. It's like the room temperature drops. I think in The Conjuring that happens, and he and you could see their breath. And apparently that they had to bring in these massive freezers to make the room cold like that. And I think in the review he says that the movie's original budget was like it's like 5 million. I think it tripled over the time of that. And how much did it make? Okay, wow. 441 million worldwide. And it's even over that because if you add in DVD, Blu-ray, VHS, them showing it on TV, I mean, it's got to be a billion. It's got to be over a billion. So, and then the exorcism goes on, and in the end, Max von Sydow, he's taking these pills. You could tell he's not very healthy. Something's wrong with him, probably with his heart. And then Jason Miller is too close to this because the during the exorcism his mother's brought up and the guilt, and he has this great scene where he's screaming at Linda Blair about his mother. Max von Sydow tells him to leave the room, and then he does, and he's downstairs and he's talking to Ellen Bernstein, and then she asks if it's over, and he says no, and then she asks if her daughter's going to die, and that's when you can tell Jason Miller has basically decided that he's not going to let her die. He's going to go back up there and finish this, which he does. And then he goes back up there. He finds Max von Sydow on the ground. He tries to resuscitate him, but he's dead. He has a struggle with Linda Blair, and basically the demon, or I mean, Linda Blair actually says that it's Satan himself in her, and Jason Miller takes on that and then jumps out the window and ends up dying. So, and then Linda Blair's okay. So in the end, she doesn't die. Jason Miller's promise to the mother is fulfilled, and yeah, that's basically the end of the movie. And there's a director's cut. I've watched both. I just watched the theatrical cut. In the review, he brought up an interesting point about the director's cut at the end, because Jason Miller has this I think it's like a necklace with like a saint on it, and Ellen Bernstein finds it, or I think her assistant finds it. She gives it to her, and then she ends up giving it to Father, the priest's friend, who's also a priest. But then in the director's cut, he actually gives it back to her, which I actually like that. I think that is a good part of the director's cut. And then it shows him and the detective talking and becoming friends. So I think that that's all good to keep. So yeah, I mean, Father Karras, this is his first movie that he acted in. Jason Miller. Fortunately, he died in 2001. Um, but wow. Yeah, wow. It's just incredible that he wasn't even an actor. Because when I heard that, I was like, really? He's like so good. Like it's, I mean, it's a very dark performance. It's like understated, but I think it's very powerful. I think you instantly feel for the guy. Um, and I don't know. I haven't even. Okay, he's in the ninth configuration, which I've been wanting to watch. That, which is a Blatty movie. Looks like a very strange movie. Um, 1980. He's in Toy Soldiers. Oh, this is a different Toy Soldiers. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Exorcist 3, Patient X, yeah. Which I do have a review of Exorcist 3 on my channel. Which I liked. I mean, I think this is better though, but I mean, I like the movie. I like The Exorcist 3. That was the first time me watching it like a couple months ago, but I really liked it. He's in Rudy. So but yeah, he's a great actor. And yeah, apparently he was a a playwright too. So apparently Linda Blair got death threats from religious zealots who believed that the film was glorifying Satan. Warner Brothers had bodyguards protecting her for 6 months after the film's release. The studio wanted Marlon Brando for the role of Father Karras. Oh man, I'm so glad that didn't happen. And I love Marlon Brando, but no, that guy's perfect. Director William Friedkin immediately vetoed this by stating that with Brando in the film, it would become a Brando movie. Yeah, instead of the important film he wanted to make. Coincidentally, Brando is also mentioned in the novel. Wow, this is the second highest grossing Warner Brothers film of all time. When adjusted for inflation, Barbie is the first. Really? Well, I think if you take in the Blu-ray, DVD, VHS sales, film rights, this is over Barbie. It has to be. If adjusted for inflation, this would be the highest R-rated film of all time. Jack Nicholson, yeah, was set up to be the part of Father Karras before Jason Miller landed the role. William Friedkin thought he was too unholy to ever play a priest, Nicholson. See, that would be interesting. I'd rather have that than Brando. Because, yeah, Brando would just, I mean, same with Nicholson. He just takes over the movie. It's just then, that's the whole movie. But, you know, that could have maybe been interesting. And yeah, it's not Linda Blair's voice for a lot of the movie is when she's possessed. But so Linda Blair received the Best Supporting Actress Oscar nomination before it was widely known that the previous Supporting Actress winner, Mercedes McCambridge, had actually provided the voice of the demon. By Academy rules, once Blair was given the nomination, it could be withdrawn, but the controversy about Blair being given credit for another actress's works ruined her chances of winning the award. Oh, that's too bad. I mean, she's still amazing in the role. It's not just a voice. So, but I haven't seen The Exorcist Believer yet. I mean, Ellen Bernstein's in it. I've just heard really bad things. But I will eventually watch it. You know, we'll see. I mean, that director, I like Halloween, his Halloween movie. The 2018 one. I like Halloween Kills. I think it's dumb fun, but I like the movie actually. I enjoy that movie. Halloween Ends is pretty bad, especially as a Halloween movie. Maybe if it was his own thing, it could be okay. But anyways, yeah, I'll check that movie out eventually. But yeah, the original, The Exorcist. I love this movie. I've always really liked it. I think it's very powerful. Um, and yeah, I definitely recommend it. So another good movie, great movie from William Friedkin. R.I.P. But yeah, that's about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and that's it.